Hey, you guys, welcome back. It's Liv. I'm glad you decided to join me. Today, I want to talk about the corruption happening inside our public school systems. Yes, I use the term corruption because that's exactly what the abuse of power or positions amount to. When school officials manipulate hiring to favor friends, unqualified candidates, or those who fit a political or personal agenda, that's an abuse of authority, which is one of the core definitions of corruption. What I'm about to share is based on real reports from educators, especially teachers, who've had the courage to speak out despite the risk. The issue affects not only teachers, but our children, our communities, and ultimately the future of America. Many educators have reported serious problems with how school districts are hiring staff. There is a growing pattern where school leaders are prioritizing hiring individuals who speak Spanish or are recent immigrants, even for positions they are not qualified for. In many of these cases, some of these hires don't hold proper teaching license or do not go through accredited teacher preparation programs. Others were placed in classrooms through alternatives or expedited routes without the required training. There are even claims that some hires are illegal aliens or lack legal work authorization altogether. This practice adds unfair pressure on certified teachers who now must teach students who don't speak English as their first language or at all, earn additional credentials to meet the new demands, and focus disproportionately on those immigrant students while American children are left behind without the proper support. To make matters worse, it's been reported that many of the bilingual teachers, including newly hired, some of whom lack full certification in some cases, even legal status, are being paid higher salaries simply because they speak Spanish, not because of teaching qualification or experience. American licensed teachers are being coached or pressured to pass students who have not earned it. This means moving students to the next grade even when they aren't prepared, just to meet internal quotas and fulfill hidden agendas. That's not just unethical, it's destroying the foundation of education itself. This is where the Ian Andre Roberts case becomes so transformative. Some have even referred to it as a high profile case because it exposes what's really been happening behind the doors of our public school districts. This is exactly why I do not support schools that make it so difficult for parents to even step inside and check on their own children. The schools start imposing excessive oversight over parents entering the schools. I understand the need for safety, but some of these schools have turned into what feels like control institutions, almost like a prison environment, all under the banner of keeping kids safe. It reminds me of what happened after 9/11 when they began to hyper control access to certain places in the name of security. It makes you wonder, is it really about protecting the children from school shootings or is it about keeping parents out? Because honestly, it's starting to seem like the ones claiming to protect our children might actually be the ones we need to protect them from. Parents should never have to fight for access to their own children. We should be advocating for full transparency, for schools to welcome parents back inside to see what's really going on and to be more involved in their child's education. That's something that's never set right with me. What about you guys? Have you noticed like how much harder it's become just to visit your child's school, have lunch with them, or check on them during the day? I would like to hear your experiences. Weigh in on this in the comments. Reports recently resurfaced regarding a former educator who came forward alleging she was forced to enter passing grades for students who did not earn them. And then when she spoke up, she was unfairly fired. Listen to this incident. It's part of a broader pattern where districts enable, minimize, and smear truth tellers to protect their image in leadership. Instead of addressing wrongdoing, they cover it up. The Roberts case has now opened the door for a broader investigation into public schools across the US because these type of corruptions have been quietly happening for years. Many Americans, especially educators, have been too afraid to speak up, fearing for their jobs and livelihoods. Some choose to stay silent, others go along just to survive, and in doing so, become part of the problem. These corrupt leaders only hire those who are complicit and fit their agenda, protecting the system they control. This is not just about schools, it extends into colleges, board positions, and even government roles. There are signs of underground networks granting unearned degrees and credentials, much like what's alleged in Ian Roberts' background. Some of these individuals later rise to positions of influence as judges, elected officials, or policymakers, helping to redefine U.S. law to fit their interests. Similar to Roberts' case, it was reported that he persuaded the school board to change hiring rules to allow individuals with criminal backgrounds to be employed, an alarming shift that contradicts longstanding laws designed to protect students. Let me replay a portion of the clip where the Iowan mother refers to that.
Well, that my mom radar quickly went up in, I guess, the fall of 2023. So a few months after he started, when he recommended and the district approved this idea of lifting the prohibition on not hiring people with criminal backgrounds.
So, how do these individuals continue moving through the system undetected or untraced? This really illustrates the reality of what is really happening behind these school walls because schools often seal records of major complaints, including cases of sexual misconduct and test scoring manipulation. For example, some educators have been caught giving student test answers to inflate scores and earn large performance bonuses instead of filing charges or notifying the police, which would make the case public. Districts quietly seal the records, allowing those individuals to resign and move to another district unnoticed.
Question. So one huge problem in K-12 are these personnel records are sealed. It's also the way that we see teachers who have been let go for sexual misconduct with students end up jumping to other districts because unless there's an arrest, which is a public record,
I see.
It's sealed. So my sense is that, again, I don't think that these school boards did their due diligence. Reporters are fine right now, just like regular people are digging and finding a ton of stuff. But I also will say that on the personnel front, things are hidden because records are sealed. And that is a safeguarding problem when you're working with students and families.
One thing you did mention.
This system not only endangers children and families, it also places a financial burden on taxpayers and robs qualified professionals of opportunities they rightfully deserve. Robert's case becomes so defining because it set the stage for nationwide accountability. This kind of corruption doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It thrives under Democratic leadership that has consistently used the pain, suffering, and historical trauma of Americans to push policies that protect everyone except the American people themselves. They've weaponized compassion to shield corruption. But I thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for awakening his people, including me, to these schemes of evil. It truly grieves me. It honestly sickens me to realize that I once supported leaders who were responsible for these kinds of actions. I know in my heart, if I had known the truth about these leaders, I would have never supported them. What I wrestle with the most is forgiving myself for what I didn't know sooner. But God is a God of redemption, and I truly believe He appointed Donald J. Trump in his administration for a time such as this to expose darkness and restore justice. We are witnessing the shaking of a system that need to be exposed. And through this, I believe we'll become a stronger, more united nation. We must stand up for our children, especially those in public schools who are suffering the most under this corruption. These people have shown us that they have no shame, no remorse. They are completely comfortable with their actions, no matter how harmful or unjust, and seem willing to prioritize their own agendas over the well being of children, families, and the community. If we don't speak up now, future generations will pay the price. I don't have grandchildren yet, but when I do, I hope others will fight for them the same way that I'm fighting for yours today. Let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comments. I always like hearing from you. Thank you for your continued support. I see you and I truly appreciate you. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, stay strong, stay prayerful, and stay grounded in truth. May God bless you all. I'll see you later.